Hey, it's Diana from Diana Marie Home, and I am really excited about today's video. I am finally sharing how I paint our floors. So this is something that I've gotten so many questions on and I've wanted to share for a long time, but there is kind of a lot of controversy around painting floors, and I just wanted to make sure that I knew what I was talking about before I actually shared it or inspired someone else to do it themselves. So I started painting floors in our house. We've been here almost 3 years, and that was like one of the first things that I did, was I painted our main stairway. So I've had about almost 3 years now with painted floors, and I feel like I can really speak to them, and I feel like I found the best way to do it. So I'm sharing what I do. If painted floors aren't your thing, this video isn't for you. But if you are thinking about painting your floors, then definitely check this video out, and hopefully what I share you'll find helpful. I did a lot of research before painting our floors. So what happened when we bought our farmhouse was you can watch the original tour. It needed a lot of work. And before we moved everything in, I had a floor guy come because I wanted to have our floors refinished before we brought all of our stuff to the house. And he came and he looked at our house, and he checked out the floors, and he told us a couple floors were too thin to be refinished, but other than that, the floors that could potentially be refinished, we had to fix the walls first because our walls were crumbling. So we had a lot of drywall work to do before we would be able to finish the floors. So I was kind of frustrated, and I just started to look into other solutions for, what I could do in the meantime to make this house look nice. And I ended up coming across painted floors and really loved the look of them. And at the time I thought that would be kind of like a temporary solution, but after living with them for almost 3 years, I love them and honestly don't ever see myself doing anything other than painted floors. They are easy to do, they are extremely durable in my opinion, and I think they look really nice. I also love that you can change a space up just by changing the paint color. So I've painted wood floors and tile floors. Now the tile floors do not hold up as well as the wood floors. However, I'll explain when I go through our home to show you more kind of my thought process behind that. But when I'm painting a floor, no matter what type it is, I first wash it really, really well. Like, you want this floor, whatever floor you're gonna paint, you want it so clean that you would feel comfortable eating off of it. So I usually use Dawn dish soap and water to get all of the grease, like everything, get it really, really clean. Once it's really, really clean, I use sandpaper to scuff it. You want it to have, rough up the surface a little bit to give the paint a little more to stick to. Once I do that, I wash it again really good, make sure it's dry, and then I go in with my Zinsser 123 Plus primer. So I always get the Plus because it's thicker and I think it's worth the extra couple dollars. And the trick with this is to get the primer tinted to the color that you're painting your floor. So I do that so that if the floor chips and you can see the primer, it's not a stark white and it's your floor color showing through instead. So they usually tell me they can't guarantee that it's gonna be the exact color, but I found that anything close is better than the stark white that the primer would be. Depending on the floor that I'm starting with, I'll do 1 to 2 coats of this primer. I just use a regular brush to cut in around the room. If I'm doing tile, I'll use a brush to paint the grout lines, and then I use a regular roller to roll the rest of the floor. Once the primer is dry, I use Bare Porch and Patio floor paint. I use low luster. I absolutely love this paint, highly recommend it. It is so durable. I love the low luster. Some people say that the gloss finish is easier to clean. I've only ever used the low luster matte finish, and I find that I don't have any problems with cleaning it. If there are scuff marks or any tough spots, I just use a magic eraser on them and it comes right up. So That paint is super durable. It's awesome. It's awesome paint, and I think it's pretty affordable too. All of our floors in our farmhouse are painted with the color Edgecomb Gray from Benjamin Moore. I just have that color mixed into the Behr paint and the Zinsser primer. I love the color. It is pretty light. It might be lighter than what some people want in their home, but it's what I call a chameleon color, and it really, I just feel like changes depending on the lighting, time of day, but it's just a very nice neutral earth tone color, and I really love it. So I'm going to take you on a tour through our house of some of the floors that I've painted, kind of explain the thought process, share some pros and cons, and just a little bit about how I did it and any upkeep needed and my final thoughts. So let's go. Starting in our living room, these floors are wood. We had someone come out when we bought our farmhouse. These wood floors, he said, were too thin to refinish. So I started thinking of some creative solutions, and I decided to paint our floors. Honestly, I'm so happy I did. Painting the floors really lightened everything up, and we have the exposed beams, so we have a lot of that warmth coming from the ceiling, and having the lighter floors, I can change out the rug to bring more warmth and balance it with the ceiling. I just really love the painted floors. They are super durable. You can see right here, there's an example of a little chip. I painted these floors almost 3 years ago, and the only places that have chipped were places that I dropped a hammer or I've dragged heavy furniture. They don't chip from just normal wear and tear of walking through your home. Now this area is tile floor, and I know a lot of people say not to paint tile. This tile was in our home when we bought it, and it was very dark, and it didn't fit with the rest of our home. So I made the decision, knowing that we were eventually going to replace this floor, to paint it as a temporary solution. I'm so glad I did, because I love it so much more painted. It doesn't hold up as well as the painted wood floor, which is to be expected. I estimated that I would have to touch this up probably twice a year, and I think that's about accurate for this. So this is right off of our kitchen, and right here is our main entryway that everybody walks through. And a lot of time we still, wear our shoes in here. We're working on a farm, so there's going to be rocks and stuff on our shoes. Like this, our animals run through here. It's just a very heavily used space. And so I expected that this was going to need touch-ups, and it does. Now I painted the tile floor in our master bathroom, and that has held up way better than the tile floor down here, just because it's not getting that heavy use. We never wear shoes in our bathroom upstairs, so overall I'm extremely happy with how this turned out, and I would definitely make the decision to paint this floor again. I don't regret it at all. And the touch-up painting is super simple. Like, I use the same color, so I don't have to cut in super close or anything. It's really just using a paintbrush to get in those grout lines, and then a roller for the main part of it. Hey, Sophie. All right, and then over here is our main stairway. These were the first floors that I painted, was this stairway. And I used primer paint and then a sealer, and I don't actually recommend using the sealer, because if you look over here, you can see the sealer actually kind of like cracked. It's almost like a crazing, and the dirt gets stuck in that crazing and it doesn't wash out, and that didn't happen on any of my other floors that I didn't use sealer on. So this big chip came from moving furniture. That was nothing against the paint or anything. But yeah, I plan on redoing these and skipping the sealer. Other than that, they held up good. And we have another stairway in the back of our house that I did not use sealer on, and they have held up extremely well. So I'll just show you guys this floor. This is another type of wood floor that I've painted. We have this wide plank flooring in our home, mostly upstairs, and I've painted that and it holds up so well. The paint on the wood floor is gonna hold up the best. I love the way it looks. I love how it really brings out the lines in the planks. Just really emphasizes the character of that brings to our home. So this is another example. And then I painted the floors in our bedroom, in Caden's nursery, our dining room. All the floors are eventually going to be painted because I'm so happy with how it turned out and how it looks. Thank you so much for joining me today and learning about how I painted our floors. I love our painted floors, and if you are thinking about doing it, I hope that this video was helpful. Sometimes you just have to do your own research and follow your gut. I almost didn't paint our floors because of what other people were telling me and their opinions, and I am so glad that I followed, you know, what I really wanted to do, because I absolutely love our painted floors. And if someone else is thinking about doing it and that's what they want to do and I feel like that's right for their home, I definitely encourage them to do that as well. And so I hope me sharing my process and the products that I use was helpful. So thanks for hanging out with me today. You can find more about my painted floors on my blog, DianaMarieHome.com. And if you don't already, you can follow me on Instagram, DianaMarieHome, where I show more behind the scenes of our day-to-day life. Thanks for hanging out today, and I will see you in my